Good evening and a warm welcome to the first edition of the North Bank Summit Show of the 2026-2027 season. And I'm welcome tonight with two guests. Obviously, my tried and trusted, first and foremost, old Georgie boys in the house. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Double duty tonight, but yeah, all good. Always love chatting football with you, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. I did what, as I said to you off air, I was watching the old
Yeah,
FPL show.
that's
8
good.
more days and counting. Nearly 600 people will join now, mate. So you must be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. So obviously 600 is what we want to try and get to in the next few days, and then on that, just build from there, mate. It's welcome to the playground. It's time to play, isn't it?
It certainly is time to play. And we got an obviously debut tonight. Kieran is in the house as well. Good evening, Kieran. How you doing, mate? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm living with Dream at the moment. I'm Kieran. Pleasure to do my debut podcast with you guys tonight. I'm really looking forward to chatting everything Arsenal, from Charity Shield to transfers to everything in between as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to obviously have a talk all things Arsenal tonight and Arsenal only. So we have got Sam Wilson, who will be joining us very soon, but unfortunately at the moment he's just got stuck in traffic on the way home. So yeah, we'll welcome him in soon. But yeah, this talk football, this talk Arsenal, and I'm going to go to you, Kieran, first, because obviously it's your debut. But like, obviously won a title last year, first time in 22 years. How are you feeling going into this season in terms of obviously being champions?
I mean, me personally going in, I feel we've got that pressure off our shoulders. We've had the whole labels of bottlers and finish second, bridesmaids and everything like that for the last few years, to not go into the season and to really be one of the only top teams to go in with some stability with manager wise as well. I think that puts us in a good foot. Obviously we've got some very good players. I'd like us to see us strengthen a little bit, which I know we'll probably talk about later with transfers and everything else as well. But we've got some fabulous youngsters coming in as well. Like, if anyone who's watched the last few friendlies with Como and against Dortmund, like Marley Salmon, him coming through looks fantastic. And there's a few other of the youngsters as well that looked really good. So I think we're in a good state. I think we've got a lot of positivity around the club as well. Not a lot of change at the moment with transfers. Again, things might change in the next 2-3 weeks before the window closes. But I think we've probably had the least disruption from any sort of big club. And we haven't had to make big transfers like a Liverpool or Manchester United have. You haven't really seen them really venture in the market yet for players. And I think Man U especially, I was expecting them to really go hard on this transfer market, where they've got Champions League football again. They're not just playing one game a week. They're playing a lot more now.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, in terms of teams, as you say, like a lot of teams, I think it's 8 managers overall, isn't there? New managers in the league coming into the league this year, which is a high subset. Like, we're talking about 40% of clubs are literally having new managers in their teams, which obviously I guess bodes well quite with us in terms of continuity. You look at the teams that have come up as well. I'll be on the show. I'm not really sure all 3 of them will stay up. If they stay up, they've done an incredibly good job. And I did think last year, like, the quality of probably the bottom 6 to 8 teams were quite poor, if I'm being totally honest. So I look at this Arsenal team and I look at, obviously, we haven't done the business we want to do yet. A bit of that is just because we haven't been able to get the right player through the door. Obviously, we'll discuss a bit around Finney later, which is obviously was the prize transfer that we were trying to get through. But you look at the signing of Bruno and you just think, actually, that strengthens us so much more in terms of that centre midfield, doesn't it? We probably not really had that left-sided number 8 kind of sort of player. I'd say since a Xhaka, if I'm being totally honest. And I just feel now that we've got someone who can play in that position, or he can play in a double pivot with Rice. I just feel now that we've actually got 2 centre midfielders that we can actually say are going to start pretty much all the games in the Premier League, if we're being totally honest. So I think at the moment we have to be favourites. We definitely have to be favourites, because I don't feel that anyone else has really done that outstanding business. I know, like Man City have brought in the likes of Elliot Anderson. But when you look at it, yeah, they brought in Elliot Anderson, but they're losing Rodri now. And now I know which one I'd rather have. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool, have they done enough? Not in my eyes whatsoever. And you look at Chelsea. Okay, they're the unknown, isn't they? They're the Man United of last year, the club that can play every 7 days.
And exactly, again, when they have such a big squad already as well, and they're not, they bought Morgan Rogers for 100 million or over 100, or was 116 million as well. And sort of, you can imagine them signing another player for that value again, especially with the transfer news that looks like Enzo Fernandez might go to Man City now. You can imagine them trying to buy big. And I think they might even be linked to one of our players as well. Because I think with our midfield, I worry that they might try buying Zubamendi or someone like that, because I think Zubamendi is probably thinking, gosh, I wasn't starting towards the end of last season. I lost my place to Lewis Skelly. And now Bruno's come in. Am I even further down the pecking order? I mean, for me, hopefully Arteta can manage him, because obviously it's a long season. We played last season over 60 games.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can say there's a place for him. But my worry is if we lose him, I actually think he was really strong for us the first half, 2/3 of the season last year. It'd be such a shame to lose a player like that, because again, we fought off Madrid to get him in the first place.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to lose him. I think, like you said, he had a very strong first half of the season. Maybe a bit of like missing home, like not being funny. Probably his first season out of Spain in like the English winter conditions. Probably not easy whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? We don't know really where his head's at either, do we? But he's come off obviously Spain winning the World Cup. Didn't feature until like the World Cup final, where he come on an extra time, and obviously they see the trophy home, which is brilliant for them and obviously brilliant for himself. But I do feel that he is that player that I think that we do need to give another season to. I really, really do. I think if we can keep our midfield options with Zubamendi, Skelly, Rice, and Bruno in that four, I think you've got 4 really strong midfielders. And I think, like you said, I think the key word is, right? Declan Rice last year was on his feet, absolutely out on his feet by the time we got to the last 5-6 games of the season, including and he's played a World Cup on top of that. And like, the worst thing that could happen is that we lose a player like Zubamendi, and then Rice picks up an injury, and then we're scratching our heads saying, why didn't we keep him? So I think it would be an absolute massive risk to lose a big player like that this season. And I just think with the World Cups year obviously just gone, I think we need to be quite mindful that a lot of these players that are coming back are probably overplayed, probably are struggling with fatigue still. And I think they're going to have to be managed correctly, especially throughout the season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we don't have a luxury like, when you watch PSG throughout the season, you don't really see them start these players in their smaller league games or anything like that. They start playing most of their games on the second half of the season. Obviously, we don't have that luxury, but like bringing in someone like Bruno, maybe you do get a game where you don't have Rice and Bruno start, you just have one of them start.
Yep.
And you can rotate a bit more, which is what you want from when you're signing someone now as champions. You're not just signing to fill your bench. You're looking at starters to sort of challenge in that.
Well, this is the thing. I'm going to go to George and bring him in because I'm just a bit mindful. Just going to bring.
I was enjoying listening.
It's actually a good discussion, this, isn't it? Because I see something you said earlier on, and it was in terms of actually like, we've got a very small window in terms of players that we really want to bring into this club, because actually the players that we want to bring into this club now are the game changers, isn't they? Like, they're not squad players anymore. They're not probably just your average first team players. These are players now that we're looking at, like bringing in obviously Bruno from Newcastle, like looking as we did to try and get Vinny from Real Madrid. We're looking to get the cream of the crop, basically playing for Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, mate. Like I was saying, I think sometimes you go through the transfer windows and you think, oh yeah, we need to get that person. But at the end of the day, it's in black and white. That squad that we have won the league last season by 7 points. I think we need we don't need players just to sit on the bench anymore. We need, like Arteta said, he wanted 2 players for each position as good as each other. Do we have that? Probably not at the moment in certain positions, but we don't need to just go out and buy anyone. Like, I agree when Arteta said, it's not just down to us, which is obvious. I don't think we need to just go out and spend like 60 to 70 million on someone who's just going to do a job. I think we're well past that now. Because ultimately, what do we want to do? We want to retain the Premier League title and probably win the Champions League. So that's where I think we're at for me. Like, I think like the left winger point of view, I don't think it's actually, there ain't a load of players that I would go for personally at this moment, because there's a group of players. Are they much different to Martinelli? I probably don't think so.
But do you think if we sell Martinelli or sell Jesus, because we're obviously both of them looks like they might leave the club, would your mind change then?
I think they have to be replaced, whatever, but I don't think it'll be hard to replace Jesus, because what has he offered for the last 12 months, personally? But I think we have to bring a left winger in, whatever, even if you get rid of Martinelli or you don't. I just, like, for example, I would never have paid over 100 million for Morgan Rogers. I wouldn't be paying, like, I'm seeing, like, was it like 60 or 70 million for Neto? Like, I'm not paying that. Like, I think he's a decent player, but I'm not. The problem is, because of City and Chelsea, let's not get twisted. They've inflated the market. And what I'm trying to say is, like, if you're looking at, we're looking at players now like Vinicius Junior, Yildiz, Barcola level, maybe not even Barcola level, maybe them 2 above him, but we're not looking at, like, do you remember, Liam, like, when we thought, I look back at transfer windows when we bought Trevino and Andre Santos in just to get a job done. Like, yeah. So we're not doing that. Konsa, do I want him for 60 million? No, I don't, because I don't think he's worth it. But I just think, I don't know. I still trust this club, mate. Like, I struggle to think that I can't trust that club that have just brought me glory after 22 years, and a lot of people forget that. I think they think, like, you look at Liverpool last season, they went bam, 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 bam. What happened to them?
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, all right, Saliba being out injured is a massive loss. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't. But I watched the highlights of Marnie Salmon yesterday. Like, not saying he's going to step up, but why not? Like,
no, and I think he's done a fantastic job. And I think we're watching Arsenal at the moment, when Arsenal don't have Declan Rice, or maybe Bruno as well going forward, we're a different team. I think I was at both the Como and the Dortmund game, and you can see there was that lack of shield in front of the defence, and that's why we look so exposed. I think Mosquera, especially in the Dortmund game, looked really sort of rusty. Again, it's hard when you're used to having that defensive shield of Declan Rice running up a pitch, as a box to box essentially, and you lose that sort of security blanket. I think that changes the dynamic of the team as well. I mean, I thought we looked imbalanced, especially on the Dortmund game. As much as it was great seeing the Hell-End youngsters play, I think you had Lewis Skelly, Ethan. Who else was in central midfield?
That's right, mate.
It was only a few days ago, wasn't it?
I know. But someone else. But, like, I don't think that was the right balance. I don't think you have someone that naturally wants to sit in front of the defenders sometimes, or it felt like they all wanted to push up a lot more than sort of actually sit back.
It was Havertz, Odegaard, and Skelly, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't remember it, because I didn't want to remember it with Havertz.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Havertz, I don't think he should be playing in that sort of midfield role. I thought he was a striker.
Forward or nothing for me. Like, even just like talking about the midfield, I think you're absolutely bang on, Kieran. Like, everyone forgets how great Declan Rice is. You take Declan Rice, you don't know what you're missing until you're missing it, as the saying goes. Like, you take Declan Rice out of that midfield, that solidarity is not there. Even Zubimendi, like, I don't think he goes anywhere. I'd be shocked if they let him go. Because you've got that. If you've got Declan and Zubimendi and Skelly and Bruno, that means you haven't got to run Declan Rice into the ground. But this is what I'm saying. Pre-season's all about minutes. Like, we've not seen like our top players playing. Look at even like yesterday. Like, how much of a change does it make when David Raya's in goal with the rest of the team? Yeah, we know that he's the best goalkeeper at the club. I'm not going to go into like saying what I think about Kepa and all that, but it's just that different level, Liam. Do you know what I mean? Like, from someone who's like world class. Well, there's no Timber there yet either. No Saka.
No.
Erdegaard's just starting to come back, and I thought Eze looked pretty good, like a lot different than he normally does. So do you know what I mean? Like, and I just think like we know who's gonna. We all probably know that Rice and Guimaraes be that midfield too. Playing with a team with Rice and Guimaraes as your double pivot sort of thing is going to be frightening to other teams because they won't know how to get through. We're not seeing that.
No, there's a lot of options in there. There is a lot of options in the club already. And like when you sit there and think, right, that actually we're missing 8-9 players on Sunday against Dortmund that are nowhere near, obviously, competing at the moment. So we'll go through the names like Jurriën Timber, world-class right back, William Saliba, the cream of the crop. There's nothing else to describe him as. Do you know what I mean? For me, the best centre back at the moment. I honestly believe if William Saliba doesn't go off injured against Spain, France win the World Cup. I really do. I really believe that. And then you go into midfield. You look at, like you said, here in Declan Rice, the security blanket. He's just a general, isn't he? Like, do you know what I mean? Like he wins everything. He's up and down that pitch. He's a leader. Do you know what I mean? He's just everything. He's just everything to this club. He's everything to that midfield. And you got Bruno, who was obviously come out, obviously introduced to the fans. Didn't play that game. Saka, like just come off last game against France, banging an hat-trick. How's he going to come back? Like you think he banged the hat-trick in against France? How many players can you claim that they've scored an hat-trick against France?
At a World Cup,
just in general, let alone a World Cup.
Just going back to Rice, Liam, like if you actually go back to even to the World Cup, he's such a great player that they had to move him from midfield to put him at right back when he was near enough injured. And look how poor that England midfield was.
Yeah,
and I think people forget that.
It's total chalk and cheese, isn't it? When you start comparing Declan Rice to any other player. It is chalk and cheese. It's like centre backs or William Saliba, in my opinion. And you look at them players that are out, and you sit there and you think, do you know what? If you add all them players back into this team, then I struggle to see like who's going to compete with us again this year. Because, and I only included Mikel Merino, or Zubimendi at this point. Do you know what I mean? Mikel Merino, look what he did. Done what he done for Spain. He done for Spain what he does for us. Do you know what I mean? Comes on and scores massive.
I still believe if
goals.
he was fit, we win the Champions League. I still stick to that.
Yeah, definitely a good opportunity. I think if Timber's fit, Timber's fit, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's much difference between us and Paris Saint-Germain, to be honest, as proven in the final. Do you know what I mean? It come down to the pot luck of penalties as such, but we kept them quiet for 120 minutes. But basically, we made one mistake in the whole game defensively, and we paid the price for it. And that's how ruthless this game is when you get to that level.
I'm not saying that. Like, I don't want people to think I'm sitting there saying that like the squad we got is good enough, like to go. Like it could be, but I still say that we need a top left winger. Like, but I think people still also need to remember, like, just back the boys as well. Like, some of the stuff I've been seeing is like ridiculous. Like we've got obviously Zolis. He's come in. He looks pretty good. I know Kieran and Sam were talking about him earlier. Like, it's the conversation about Trossard. Like, he had Liam. I know we've got loads of voice notes about Trossard last season, but like he had them moments. He left a cult hero, but Zolis is perfectly for that role, and he's younger. I I don't think we're sitting here at the end of the transfer window with not buying anyone. That's just my thing on them.
No, I think we definitely do have got more business. I think Arteta is right in what he said in that press conference. I think probably the caliber of player he wants, will he get in? I don't know at the moment, because the caliber of player he wanted was Vinicius Junior. Do you know what I mean? And
who got booed today? Apparently,
it was going to happen, though, wasn't it? But
got booed by the fans today. So
when you get with that player and you get that close to signing that player, and apparently we was that close to signing that player, it is gonna feel a little bit deflating at times, because you're gonna sit there and think, actually, who are we gonna go for now? Who can really sit in? Who can really replace him now in terms of the quality that we was going to buy? And look, I think if we brought him in, I think it would have been an absolute game changer in terms of not just obviously him coming into the club, but the way this club operates as a whole, because it would have been the biggest statement signing this Premier League's ever seen. No one's like, don't get me wrong, I think Mesut Ozil was an incredible player, but I think Vinny Jr. totally exceeds him, just because of obviously he's world class in his position. Do you know what I mean? And he's a difference maker. He's something that could make something out of nothing. Ozil was a creator. Do you know what I mean? It was an incredible player for us. But what I'm trying to say is, I just think Vinny Jr. would have given us that star quality. Do you know what I mean? That could have been so much different.
Someone also online said, like, could Arsenal be thinking, like, there's some players out there that have only got like 18 months, 2 years left on their deal. Do you really want to be paying 100 million plus for those sort of players if they're not going to sign a new deal? Like, we don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, say someone like Barcola decides, you know what, Liverpool's not for me, I'm going to run my contract down a bit more. You don't. Do you know what I mean? But I think we had chat about Barcola, Liam. Like, is that really what we want as well? Like, because is there much difference between him and Martinelli? People might say, yeah, there's a lot. Some people might say, not really. But I don't know. I've been, the problem with Martinelli is that it's kind of that ship sailed, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, and to be clear on that, because I'm quite interested to know what your thoughts are in terms of that left wing position at the moment. Like, it seems to me that Martinelli's going to go in this window. There's a lot of talk, obviously, with Galatasaray at the moment putting bids in. So if that is the case, you would actually expect someone to come in, or if worse comes to the worst, would we look at potentially moving Eze out there?
It's a hard one. Like, for me, Barcola, I think watching Barcola for PSG, he looks very good in the Champions League. I think we had a chat, me and Sam, earlier, and I think you guys weren't on it. For me, whoever we bring in, we've got to be used to having someone to play against the low block, because that's what we're going to face probably, at least 30 times in the league next season, is teams sitting back against us. We're not going to have teams play expansive football. I thought Martinelli in the first, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think the first 4 or 5 Champions League games last season, I think Martinelli scored in all 5 or all 4 of them in a row, because the game's a lot more open. So if you're signing someone very like Martinelli, they're probably going to be very successful in the Champions League. But I think we need a different type of player who's up against the low block. And again, maybe things will change slightly more when I think with Bruno signing, when you watch him how he's played at Newcastle, he's used to getting the ball quicker forward. I think, often we see at Arsenal a lot of side-to-side passing, and we don't have, I don't know if it's been coached out the team, but we don't often see players take that risky pass to sort of break the defence. We'd rather retain the ball. And I don't know if either Bruno is going to be coached to not do what he's been doing at Newcastle, or if he's going to pass the ball side to side. But I think if we're trying to get the ball quicker forward, maybe we can sign a different sort of left wing, or maybe something similar. But I think we need different outcomes to help our wingers. Because again, most games you actually see, the first players that come off is our wingers. In most games, you don't often see both our wingers finish a game, the ones that start.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, like, is there the option actually? Like when we think of Granit Xhaka and Martinelli, the relationship they had a couple of years ago in terms of, and that, it doesn't. There's no smoke without fire, is there? That actually when Xhaka was playing and Martinelli performed at his best when he has someone further up with him. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I do think with Martinelli that we don't get him into the right area. And the thing with Martinelli is his game's based on pace, isn't he? You want to get him behind, basically. He's not the most trickery of players, if we're being totally honest. Yeah, he can beat a player, but he's not like Saka. He hasn't got the intelligence to be like Saka, where Saka can cut in, he can go out, he can do what you want, but where Martinelli can't do that. But I'm not saying that it'll be Martinelli, but then if we got someone like Bruno into that position, and then we got someone like Barcola into, because like look, he's rapid, he's absolutely rapid. If you can get him behind the fullback, as we see in the Champions League final, as we see in probably the third and fourth place game against France, England, if he gets behind you, you ain't catching him. You're not getting him, but you're not getting back level money. Is there the opportunity if we can play Bruno further up on that left hand side that potentially we could have a player like Barcola in there?
Yeah, I think so. Again, pace does it in the Premier League sometimes as well. Again, the problem is just how we're set up to play. Which is why I don't think like someone like Victor Gyökeres has been really fed that well last season. You saw a few times when we did play balls in behind the defence, Victor ran on. I mean, I remember the Leeds game and there's a few other games as well where he's done that. I think if we're prepared to play more expansive football this season, because we've got the Premier League out of the way, hopefully everyone's got it out of their system now. We don't have to play the way we did. Tactically, maybe we can try playing a bit more expansive football, because if you look at City, over the years, City didn't play the way we've played to win the title last season. They played a lot more expansive football. They faced the low block as well over a number of years, and they've evolved their football. And I think, again, we're not going to probably see that evolution. We've been Coventry, like we all mentioned, missed players for pre-season, and he's not going to show off what the new way of playing is during pre-season. He probably wants to leave it for maybe like a Chelsea game or even a Villa game. Sort of thing to show that new way of playing, because they're going to be tough games against Chelsea and Villa to start the Premier League season.
I do think, though, reading Catherine's comments, I think there's a great argument in terms of if we brought a Yildiz in, if we brought a Nico Williams in, if we brought a Barcola in, would any of them be able to adapt to 3.5 day games at the moment? Like, it's much easier playing in Spain and France, isn't it? And there's no disrespect to them leagues, but it's just the way the style of the Premier League is, isn't it? That it's just relentless. So I think whoever we bring in, really, throughout Europe, I think there is going to be there would be a teething part, wouldn't there? In terms of actually, if you brought a Nico Williams in or Yildiz in, I'm not sure they could potentially contribute every 3.5 days at the moment. I think there would have to be and to be fair, with the guy who's come into Solaces, I think with him, I think he's very much actually, you don't have to rely on the left wingers playing every game, because I think he would be a great squad player, and I think he's got a really, really good chance of potentially staking a claim early doors. And he's pretty much done that in pre-season, we'll be honest. In my opinion, he's been our star performer in pre-season. I think he's really shone out. I think you see certain players that huff and puff, but you start looking at their stats and you're thinking, nah, there's nothing to show for it.
There is a player that could do it.
I think he's the other way round. What did he get? Like, was it 4 assists and 1 goal? Something like that, or 3 assists, 1 a penalty and a goal?
Yeah, 4 goal contributions, 1 penalty, and 1 goal in 5 games.
Yeah,
I might as well welcome you in, Sam. By the way, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you? I said I would put like my 2 pence in about him as well.
Yeah, crack away, mate, because obviously his stats are showing already in pre-season that he's definitely gonna have loads of stats, I think, in terms of goals and assists throughout the season.
Yeah, I've because obviously, like I said before, my friend's Club Bruges, and he was going mad when we signed him. He's going, I really hope you don't. But when I've watched him, he's kind of drove down the line. He's drove into the box and then played a good cross. He's scored. He's tracked back. I don't really know what more you could ask from someone. Like you say, with the teething problems of coming from another league, like he's fitted straight in. Like he's not needed that time. And I think we found that with a lot of the players that we've signed, that they've just walked in and kind of known what it's all about straight away. And I think that's, what we've got to look forward to, I suppose. 34 million, what's that on anyone at the minute is pocket change, really, unfortunately. So, yeah.
As long as they ain't Fabio Vieira.
Well, he missed a sitter, didn't he?
I think I could have
also,
that.
I've also been told that I look very much like him, so...
I'm sure
we'll leave it there then, Sam. We'll leave it there.
I'm sure you're a better footballer, Sam, don't worry.
No, trust me, I'm not.
I've seen Vieira,
mate. So, George, if you had the choice at the moment, you're going to bring one left winger in, and you could bring that player in, who would you choose at this moment of time?
My heart says Yildiz. Unfortunately, my heart says I think this is crying all over Marcus Rashford loan on deadline day. It's not what I want, but I don't know. I'd rather have Marcus Rashford on loan or for 30 million than no one. So,
or Neto.
I don't. I was saying this, having this chat before. Like, it does make me laugh a bit because these players a couple of seasons ago, Arsenal fans wanted them all the time, and then because they go to Chelsea, it's like they constantly become crap. I'm not saying that about Neto, but I don't want Neto anyway because he plays on the right. I actually want someone. I'm done with the times of having someone who can play in a position. I'd rather have someone that's their specific position. Like, I don't want Alvarez, mate.
Really?
You don't?
No, I don't. Why would I want a striker or someone who don't even want to come to Arsenal or wants to go and play Barcelona? Like, everyone's saying, Arteta has said he wants players who want to play for Arsenal. All I keep hearing is, Julian Alvarez wants to go to Barcelona. Barca. That's all I keep hearing. So what's he going to do next summer or January? Get the move and then throw his toys out of the pan because he wants to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, he's just seeing it's a stopgap, isn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd rather Hendrick. We ain't going to get him, but I don't want Alvarez. He's a very good player.
I'm not brought him personally.
He's a very good player, Alvarez, but I don't want someone who keeps saying they want to come play for Barcelona.
Never been sold on Nico Williams either. From when I've watched him play, he seems
good at Forest.
he seems to do what we've already got with Martinelli, kind of run and not really know when to play the ball across or when to take a shot. I've never really been particularly that impressed with him, to be fair, not for mega money.
Especially with the salary he's going to command as well, because he's on a hefty salary at Athletic Club, isn't he? I think he's for highest 300k.
So then, Kieran, is Rashford an astute signing as such, in terms of actually it won't be a high cost. It's low risk because actually he knows the Premier League. He's at an age where you probably only want him for a year or two. Whether you got him on a loan deal or whether you paid 30 million for him, could he be that opportunity just for a year if we can't get the right player in?
I wouldn't take him personally. I'd rather stick with Martinelli when you have Rashford. I think we don't know what it is, but obviously Rashford has gone for a few clubs like Villa didn't sign him. Barcelona have chosen to probably spend double the amount of money and brought Anthony Gordon in rather than someone that's been embedded in the club for a year. And on paper, people wouldn't say, "Oh, Gordon is double the amount worth what Rashford is." And I know, again, we talked about earlier about how the market has been messed up anyway because of City and Chelsea, but I don't think. Obviously, there might be a we don't know. Obviously, we're speculating, but Rashford's obviously got a training issue or some sort of issue where no clubs actually really want him. United have had to, I think they've given him a new number this week as well. I think when he's played on Sunday, and they're probably doing that because no one wants him. You've either got to try playing him or seem like you semi-want him, because otherwise his value is going to go down to zero. He'll end up doing what Sancho does. I think Jadon Sancho, that could be a weird signing. We could probably get him for free. But
no, don't do that to me.
I joke. That probably be the Arsenal in the
Yeah,
past.
don't say that too loud, like on Twitter, it'll break.
Speculation. Arsenal linked with Jadon Sancho. No, but for me, I don't think Rashford's better than Martinelli. I think if we can't land who we want, I think we're better keeping Martinelli and using that money elsewhere on the pitch. If it's a central back, can play right back, or I don't know if you guys saw one of the latest rumours about a few hours ago that we're being linked with Osimhen from Galatasaray. Okay, I'm not saying he's the right answer either. Obviously, he's of an age. He's, I think, probably quite similar to what we've got as Victor. He's not played in a top league for a little while. Not to say the Turkish league isn't a top league, but obviously it's not going to be the same level from a defence from the Italian league or the English league or something like that. But
It's just another Aubameyang.
It's another Aubameyang that might work for 24 months. Again, Aubameyang did a fantastic job for us in a very difficult time. You know, he's had a very good goal ratio, Aubameyang, but I don't think he's the answer. We're getting to the stage now where what we got left, just over 2.5 weeks of a transfer window. Is it 1st of September it closes?
Thank God.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
Liam's favourite time of the year.
any top player, unless they've mentioned before they want to move, it's going to be very difficult for a club to accept them to move now as well, no matter what the cost, unless you're going to Spain and paying someone's release clause, which again, for us, it's possible because some of the younger players might be on a smaller release clause, but anyone big, it's going to be, unless they've made murmurs to their agents and they're starting to look at it now, I don't think we're going to have a surprise big deal on the big day unless it's something that's been in the works and we're just not aware. But with how social media is these days, you know, with all the transfers we've been linked with, all the people we've signed so far, we've had sort of 2 weeks, 3 weeks worth of news about potentially looking at them. So to answer your question, I don't think we should sign Rashford. I don't think he may be the, you know, I don't think he brings a positive vibe to him either as well, based on how many clubs he's gone through.
Yeah, I don't. It's not the ideal signing by any stretch of imagination, is it? If you ask me right this moment in time, out of everyone who I choose, I'm probably going Yildiz.
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm probably going Yildiz if I'm being totally honest. I'm seeing a world where Eze plays left. Eze gets considered that left wing at the moment, if I'm being totally honest. Right this moment.
You're mad awake if somebody can't shoot a score.
Well, for me, mate, he can't. I watched the Everton game like at home last year, mate, and Madueke started left wing, and his best move in that whole game was when he got moved down to the right wing. He's just not a left winger, mate. Madueke for me, and I worry about him this year anyway. If I'm being totally honest,
I said to you, when he has the ball before he gets to the final third, you think, God, he's got something about him. As soon as he gets that final third, you're like,
I don't.
I don't actually. I don't actually think he's like before he gets to the final third. I actually don't think he's that bad, but. I think
it's when he's got to do something, isn't it? It's when he's got to do something. It's when he's got to do that final piece. Like, don't get me wrong, the ability is there because he wouldn't score goals like he did against Club Brugge and even Mansfield with the goal at Mansfield that he scored. There were top quality goals. You know what I mean? So the quality is there, but I just don't think there's consistency there. And I just think he's in a boat, right, where Max Dowman's going to be breathing down his neck.
Yeah,
so it's so hard now, mate. And I just don't see.
I wouldn't mind the Everton winger actually. I forgot about him. Was it a Jai? What his name is?
Yeah,
I'm not really overly.
I think he's better than Martinelli. I'm not a fan of Martinelli. I think he's had too many opportunities that if you look at most podcasts we've done, Liam, I can't remember probably off one hand. I can remember us saying how great work Martinelli's done.
Did in about 2023.
Yeah. Well, but for me, for a top club like Arsenal, we want to win the Premier League and Champions League, that's not good enough.
No, it's not. It's not. It's being able to find that right player, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't rush into it.
But
because
Pedro Neto, he gets sent off at the Emirates because Martinelli gets him sent off. So I'm not really brought into the situation that Pedro Neto is the player to bring into the Emirates.
No,
he's not no better than Martinelli. Do you know what I mean?
No, he isn't. But I think
that's the problem. There's no point replacing a player with a player who's on the same standard. Now, that's why I'm in this boat where I can see Eze playing out on the left at the moment. The player I do want to discuss.
I don't think he does. And it'll go back to when he... do you remember when, obviously, Eze was playing quite a lot at the beginning of the season? Then I think it was the Villa game, and then Eze went missing for about a month or so. If I remember rightly, I think it was like the lack of tracking back. And our wingers... It
was a cash goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think our wing... Again, which is why our wingers don't last a full 90 minutes. They work extremely hard tracking back. I just don't think Eze's got it in him. Or I've not seen evidence he's got it in him. For me,
he's a number 10 for me.
He's a number 10. That's why I don't think he will play Eze on the left unless it, again, especially in the big games. You might be able to get away with it in some of the smaller Champions League games. But for me, I wouldn't say he's going to be our first or even our second choice left winger going in. He's there when we have to maybe make up a team because of the lack of injuries or you want squad rotation. Again, if it was we had an option of having a free player and not tracking back, maybe he could do that. But for me, I don't see Eze starting there. I don't think he's got what again, for how Arsenal currently play or how we've seen us play last season.
Yeah,
I don't think he's capable of doing that role.
And that comes back to the equation in that actually. I believe if Martinelli goes out the door, then we will be in a boat where we have to bring someone in. I think it's an interesting one. I don't think there's no one here at the moment who can come out with the answer. I think, but it's one that will determine in terms of actually is the position that will determine whether we win the league again next year potentially. Definitely with the Champions League for me.
All our problems could have been solved, Liam, though, if Jesus got some form back, like you said before. Like he could have played on the left. So I'm not saying but I'm saying for this season.
He can't finish for shit.
He's finished now, I think he's lost so much pace in his game. He's lost that. He had, when he first come in, mate. He ain't a necessarily a quick player, is he? But he's just very quick reactionary. He was a very quick player that could do things just.
That's what I'm saying. If he was doing that now, I wouldn't be as worried. But he can't do it, and
he can't do it. He like the Premier League's gone from Gabriel Jesus, in my opinion. I think that he's on the decline massively. It's sad to see because like that player that I see when he first come in here, I was so excited. Like that first couple of months he was here was probably one of the best couple of months I've seen from a forward since Aubameyang. If I'm being totally honest, he was that good until he went to that bloody World Cup, got injured, and we never see that Gabriel Jesus ever again.
He had the one player. I guess he had like a spark as well, didn't he? Like it was that willingness. It was that willingness to chase down every ball when he first signed. But obviously, when you get injured and you're out for a period of time and you're getting older, you've kind of got those two things on your back, then, haven't you? And then you're not thinking straight. And is your head completely in the game like it was before? And it's all those different kind of things, isn't it?
And you lose that hunger, don't you, as well? When you're a young player, I mean, you probably had such a massive thing to prove to City. And obviously, that season's the first season. Obviously, we got taken seriously once we bought Jesus. And again, it'd be very interesting what would have happened if there was no World Cup in that December time and how we would have progressed as well, because we were on a fantastic run at the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, it is what it is. But I think, unfortunately, Jesus will go. and hopefully that'll free up quite a bit of salary as well. If
that's the
not
main
for,
thing.
for future summers.
One player I do
200
want
odd million, isn't it, that he's on? Like Jesus.
50k, 250k a week or something like that, isn't it?
I thought you said he was on 200 million. Was that?
you'd probably be best, like, do you know what I mean, just taking what you can for him and running, because actually the wages you're paying for him is absolutely ridiculous at the moment of time.
So he takes Vieira and Nelson with him.
Well, I think Reece Nelson, they're saying tonight, looks like he's going to West Ham for 3 million.
Oh, nice. That's 3 million more than I thought we'd get. So
exactly, and again, I think he signed a long-term contract when he did about 3-4, probably after the goal against Bournemouth.
When he scored against Bournemouth, it was like his contract. We have to give him all 5 years.
He's been on 100k.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It was absolutely ridiculous. Like with the heaven and earth, we went in for players like him and Eddie Nketiah. I thought it was quite unfortunate that we got the money we did for Eddie Nketiah, if I'm being totally honest. From Crystal Palace, so I'm not surprised that he's not really done anything now. I just don't think he's that. You don't have that sort of striker in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean anymore? It just doesn't work whatsoever. But you think that the amount of money we did lay into people like Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, I thought we'd done well to get the money back off, get the money from Eddie. But I think with Reece, I think that if we get 3 million for him, then we take it.
It's pure profit as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, because obviously comes from Haaland, there's 3 million. But I was seeing something
we potentially would have got some loan fees out of him as well. Do you know what I mean? So I know it looks like 3 million, but people always tend to forget that actually he's been out on a couple of loans as well. So potentially there would have been loan fees in with that as well. So do you know what? I think he had that moment. He's going to go into the league where I think he'll be more settled in, and he needs to start. The problem with Reece Nelson is he's never had a full season anywhere. He's never played a full season, and there's no proof in the pudding that he would do it at West Ham either. To be fair to me, or you, or anyone, because actually he's had loads of injuries. He's never really got into any kind of form when he's gone out on loan to anyone. So, good. I wish him all the well, mate. I hope he does find some kind of form in the Championship. But I think it's probably the best decision for him to step back into the Championship. He's not going to go into no bigger club in the Championship than West Ham. They're still going to get 60,000 fans each week. So, do you know what I mean? He's going to be playing at a platform where there's in front of 60,000 supporters each week. So, in my opinion, it's probably the best move for him.
He's more likely to be probably playing in the Premier League again in a couple of years if he's West Ham.
I think they've
got to be the favourites.
I think they'll go up this year. I'll be very surprised if they
even the players they've managed to keep. Do you know what I mean? They've only really lost 2 or 3. So
and they got Bowen to commit, didn't they, as well? Which is
Danny Dyer probably had something to do with that. But
you're not doing a Declan Rice on me.
No.
I want to talk about Martin Odegaard because obviously a lot of talk before the World Cup in terms of actually would he stay at the club, or would we decide it is the right time to kind of part ways. He had an excellent World Cup, didn't he, Kieran? And he's now thrown his name straight back into the hat this year. Don't see him leaving whatsoever. Do you see a world where Martin Odegaard gets back in his team? He's the captain at the end of the day of the club, and grabs his place back full time.
I definitely think at the start of the season he does. I think he's our first choice. I think Arteta's going to back him as captain. I know obviously there's a lot of rumours towards the end of the season that there was a falling out or something, but for me, last season Odegaard didn't start the season well. He had injuries, and then I think same with Saka, was rushed back maybe too early because we needed them, and just never found that rhythm. I think having a really good World Cup has probably done him a world of good. Again, what Norway achieved in the World Cup, no one probably would have thought. Again, even though they've got Haaland, no one probably would have bet them to get further out of the group stage. So I think they did a fantastic job. I think Odegaard's going to be really interesting, especially depending on who we're playing in central midfield with him. I think the problem when you had last season of Odegaard and Zubimendi is you had 2 players who constantly wanted to come back and get the ball. Yeah. So we actually had one less player upfield because they both want to just come back and get the ball and be the one that starts to move off. I think if you've got Odegaard doing that, it opens up where Rice might go left or right and Bruno goes the other side. It actually opens us up a little bit more and maybe gives an extra player to sort of maybe do that quicker pass or do something a bit more quicker going forward than what we have been, because we've been used to last season having those two players sit back more to start a move off. If you often see Odegaard wants to get the ball from the centre back or from a fullback, especially more likely the right fullback run for the left one, to get the ball to start that move off. And sometimes you've got Zubamendi trying to do the same. He's only next to him, and I don't think you'll see Bruno or Rice doing that. I think hopefully you'll see them off high up the field, to sort of cause a bit more chaos now. But again, that depends on how we're going to set up to play. I'm hoping that we'll play a bit of a faster pace of football and maybe take a less touch or so. Because I think that's the problem as well, is that when we're trying to maybe do a counter-attack, sometimes we play that extra pass. And someone like Bruno doesn't need to maybe do that extra pass. He can go break defences a bit better and have a more risky pass to try getting the ball through rather than doing the extra pass. So I think Odegaard and Zubamendi actually do.
And what's your thoughts, Sam, on Nwaneri?
I also, just to come back on Odegaard a little bit, I think we've also seen in pre-season like glimpses of the player we had at one stage. I think there was one that was a quick touch into someone on the last game. I didn't watch it. But I've been probably a harsh critic of him, but in pre-season he's really impressed, I think, in the bits that he has had, for sure. So Ethan, I saw him. So obviously I didn't see the Como game, but I saw the one before the Emirates Cup. And I guess it's another one you've got to make a decision on. You've got to make a decision to fully back him and try and bring him into the team, or you've got to look to bring the money in for him, because obviously he's up and coming. He's very on the names of a lot of people. So again, it's kind of in this midfield though, isn't it? It's this midfield where we're going to struggle to know who to play. Now we've got so many options.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. I think it's worth the risk unless we get a massive amount of money come in, because you need a squad
Could be pure cash though.
It could be. Yeah. It could be a lot. But I was seeing like 35, and I was thinking at that stage you may as well keep him. We've been so young and so much time to develop. You need to be looking at, which is ridiculous, but it's just the way that this transfer window is going.
I think as well, when we let him go in January, I think if we would have kept him for an extra week, we probably wouldn't have let him go with Marino's injury.
No, he wouldn't have done
more.
No, we wouldn't have done. You're bang on, because actually that Marino injury come literally a week after it, didn't it? It's an interesting one with him, isn't it, George? Because the problem I think he's got, right, and it's a bit like Reece Nelson with Saka. Reece Nelson broke through, and we thought, he was going to be the next big thing at the time, didn't we? He was doing absolute bits for the youth team. But Saka was just so much a better player in terms of absolutely everything that he just overridden him. And I just worry if, like, the one area is going to be a bit the same like Dalman, because I look at Dalman, right, and I think, like, he could be a future number 10 of this club. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not brought that actually long term, like, right wing will be his natural position, because he's so good, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's so intelligent, and I just feel that Nwaneri's in that same boat with him. And like, I really like Nwaneri. I thought I was really pleased for him when he scored against Dortmund, because I'm just like, I really like him. I thought last year when he come on in them first 3 games when Odegaard got injured, he didn't let no one down. He played pretty standardly well in terms of obviously the performances. I think it was against Leeds, Forest, and someone else, West Ham. And he didn't let no one down. But the problem is that he's always going to be fighting up against it. He's got Odegaard in front of him. He's got Eze in front of him. He's got Saka in front of him. He's got Dalman in front of him. And I'm sorry, I just don't see how he overrides that at the moment. And that's the problem he's got. And then you look at, actually, if you get offered 40 to 45 million, do you take that? Put a buyback clause on it. So, and obviously a sale percentage just in case you don't want him back. But do you know what I mean? Look, is it pure cash, Georgie, and potentially a buyback clause if he does well?
Can he play on the left?
No, he can't.
Do you know what? I had that thought as well, because he's right footed, isn't he? and they like on the opposite foot.
But you could always move Saka over, couldn't you? Like he played at left back.
I just don't know. That's not going to happen.
But no, it's not. I thought I was ready for them to probably sell him because I wouldn't be taking anything less than 50 million, mate. He's still a teenager. He's won the Premier League. I think everyone seems to forget, like some of our players. I know we're not very good at selling, but I watched in the highlights against Dortmund, and I thought it was really good. And Arteta's also said, like Jason said, that he's come back more mature and he's impressed with him. So, what I think also people do forget is Martin Odegaard and Berchert Eze's age. Because if you look at their 20, are they 27?
Oh, Eze's 28. I think Odegaard's 27, 26, 27.
So you think one year is only 19? A couple seasons down the line, like it could be perfect time for him.
Just think Dalman's ahead of him, mate. Still,
but if you've got Dalman in 1 year, there's your options, isn't it? Like,
well, it depends on whether you're going to sit Dalman. I mean, I think Catherine's put on the chat about having. I know we said Saka out left, you don't see it, but if Dalman continues where he's at, you're going to have Dalman and Saka in the squad.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's got Odegaard because he's not going to play that Odegaard role. He'll play something
different.
I
think it's a big move to move Saka out onto the left.
But I think you will do to accommodate.
Just don't know if Arteta. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I just don't see.
But he played him at left back.
Yeah, but that was back in a day, weren't it, where he was breaking into the team, weren't he? Let's be honest, he took his opportunity incredibly well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember speaking to my mates about Saka at 17 at left back, and they were telling me it was typical Arsenal overbuilding a player up and all that. Yeah, he was unbelievable. But I just think what Saka does and what the consistency and the continuity of what he does in that team, I don't personally, and I could be totally wrong, I don't personally see him being moved out to the left. But it is an option. It is an option.
Yeah, I think when 1 year, like, I wouldn't, I personally now, I wouldn't sell him. I just think it's all about options, mate. Like, and if you look at it, if Jesus, Nelson, and Vieira go out the door, that's
He's
another.
Going to be happy though, mate, if he can't get into that match day squad, though, mate. And that's the problem we're going to have with him, isn't we? Because
he's 19. He needs to be able to be patient by his time, though, doesn't he?
Our players that patient anymore, though, mate. Do you know what I mean? If they know they can go somewhere else and get football,
yeah.
Can you
on a long term?
I'm guessing, can you give him assurances that he's going to play in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup?
That's pretty standard anyway, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you give him that and then say, look, if you prove yourself to be good enough in those competitions, then you've got your chance.
And then a couple of lower, like in the Champions League group stage, like there's games there he could play. I still think he would get a decent amount of game. It's whether if he wants to play week in, week out. But
I don't want to burst the bubble here, but Arteta had the opportunity to do this last year with him. He had the opportunities to play him in Champions League games. Like, do you know what I mean? And he didn't. Yeah. And Arteta come out himself and said he's pretty much kind of like indirectly let him down a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because he couldn't give him the play time. And I totally get it from Arteta's point of view, because Arteta's here to win games of football and to win trophies, and he needed that trophy over the line last year. So maybe there is that little flexibility now where actually I've got the trophy over the line now. I potentially maybe might be able to do it a little bit more.
Could it be another Saliba thing, mate? Like everyone was saying, why have they sent him out on loan or not played him for those 2 seasons? Maybe one year it doesn't. I'm surprised.
I think he's a Premier League club, to be honest. I'd send him out to Bournemouth or Palace.
I'd send him to Newcastle, going the other way on the loan. But
Newcastle, mate.
So what? But yeah, I still think he has a future at the club. Like I don't think it. Like personally, I'd
rather he went out on loan and played football at a good Premier League club. Do you know what I mean? And got loads of experience, loads of minutes. I think he should have stayed in the Premier League. Personally, it was a risky move with Marseille because, like, look, they sacked De Serbi a week or two after, so he got stuck in a really horrible situation, and it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I don't see him playing enough minutes to kind of justify himself saying like, okay, I'm playing the Carabao Cup and
I just think,
and the FA Cup. I don't think that's enough for a player like him. I think he's better than that.
Yeah, I just think next summer is a big summer for people like Martin Odegaard and Eze. Like, so that's why I'm saying I wouldn't sell one year.
But a loan move, loan
Yeah. No, I'd be
good idea.
I'd be happy with that. I don't personally. I don't want to sell him because I think it could be something that bites us on the arse down the line. But because I think everyone forgets, like, I'm not saying as soon as you get to 29 or 30 that you're finished, but it's
when that person. Look at Bernardino Silva. What's he, 33? Yeah. He was like one of the best players.
Yeah, but right, it was scumbag.
But like, that's what I mean. We shouldn't be dismissing like. Do you know what I mean? Like these players. Like, I think that's been our problem in the past where we've kind of let players go too early. And I think, like, do you know what I mean? Like, some of these players that you do need to keep in their 30s. So some of the experience you can get out of it is invaluable. Do you know what I mean? So,
I just don't think Nwaneri's value drops that much that everyone could. Like, I've seen people saying it's like Maitland-Niles. It's nothing like Maitland-Niles.
No, nothing at all.
Like, with Nwaneri, sorry, you could send him out on loan. And if you think, oh, there ain't no space for him, you could still get 50, 60 million plus for him next summer. Because that's what we've got to be looking at. Everyone like everyone was like, oh, it's a a breaking record that Arsenal could sale. What, 38 million for Martinelli? Like, only because it's 3 million above what Chamberlain or whoever went for. But it's time now. We've got to start selling these people. Like you said, Liam, if this was Chelsea, and I hate saying it, but these players would be going for between 60 to 80 million at least.
Is there a world, I guess, in that Arteta goes, look, we've got too many midfielders this season, but in the future, I'd love to see Maitland-Niles and you playing together in midfield so that we've got two players in our midfield that are English with Declan Rice and...
I'm guessing you mean Dalman, not Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, it's about 30 odd.
No, I meant...
Dalman.
Not Dalman.
Lewis Skelly.
Lewis Skelly, sorry. Yeah. Skelly and...
I don't want Maitland-Niles back, mate.
No, Skelly and Ethan in that midfield. And there's that English connection there. And yeah, I think you can... I think there's certain things that you can say to him. Look, we're not just going to send you out on loan for the sake of it.
It's got to be tough for him, isn't it? Like, he left in January and Arsenal went on and won a Premier League. Like, that's got to be tough that he weren't part of that, even though he was part of that first half of the season and he was coming on in games. As I said, like, do you know what I mean? That must have been really, really tough for him.
I reckon, which is why Arteta's come back and made a comment about how he's come back. Sure, I think he's been advised by his agent, you need to game time and everything else, which is probably maybe why that move went ahead in January. And I think now, you know, he's realised, he probably assumed that he was going to walk into that Marseille team. And obviously, there's games where he didn't play. So the grass isn't always green on the other side. And he's probably maybe come back in a more mature fashion, thinking, I can't expect just to walk into this Arsenal team when I couldn't get into the Marseille team. I need to bide my time. Maybe he's being better advised that, you know, he is 19 years old. It's not like he's retiring in 2 or 3 years' time. He's got a long career ahead of him. And maybe, you know, like Arteta, like Sam's just mentioned, there is a future for him. It just might not be this season or even next season. For me, I think if we keep him till January before we send him out on loan, I think that's probably the best way. We can assess our squad by then as well. Hopefully, you know, we will be injury-free or nothing serious, and we can help him develop and make a decision at the end of the season. But I'd want to keep him. I think it's always great having hell-end players stay as long as possible as well. You know, you always, you know, us as fans want to see people come through the youth system. You know, they grow up like fans like us rather than bringing other players in all the time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting situation on that one, isn't it? If you go on, George.
just with Ethan as well, I was saying I forgot about was that when Emerson Wanyeri's brother re-signed for the club, from the people that was around the deal and so say they know about it, apparently Arsenal and Arteta had a meeting with the whole family to say about the family's pathway at the club. So that could be, do you know what I mean? And that was only recently. So I would maybe these conversations were spoke about, because as far as they were concerned, Emerson Wanyeri, Ethan's brother, was leaving, like because he wanted to know the pathway and saw what was going on with Ethan. So, you know what I mean? There's probably something in that. And like what Kieran said, you could put him on you could say like to Ethan, no, you're going to go on loan there and then on loan to somewhere else for a season. By the time he's 21, 22, that's when you make that decision, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Didn't they do it with Bellingham?
He's in the players as well when people talk about the English footballers that are coming up through, like that are younger. And if he's in those conversations with everybody else, because he most definitely is, then you've got to be thinking he's there for a reason. People aren't just going to spout the name just because he's at Arsenal. He's there because they've seen talent.
Well,
I think he's good. He's just like Liam said. There's a lot of midfielders and a lot of people in these positions. So at this moment, you've got what's right for him. Send him on loan. Say something like a Bournemouth. You get regular football. You get You get that European taste as well because they're obviously in Europe. Someone like that, and then you can reassess it. I don't know how long he's got left on the deal. That's something also to think of as well.
The one position I want to discuss before we do get into, well, there's two positions I want to discuss, guys, before we get into the Man City game. Centre back. Well, obviously William Saliba. Obviously, the last thing that we want to see in terms of him going off against Spain in this World Cup semi-final. We've got Mosquera. I'm not brought that at the moment. He's at a consistent level that he can play week in, week out. I'm being perfectly honest with you. Timber's out at the moment, not come back yet, which is obviously going to weigh a lot of pressure on Ben White. And if I'm being totally honest again, there's no guarantee Ben White can stay fit, as we've seen over the last couple of seasons. So we definitely do need another reinforcement there, don't we, Kieran, in terms of a defender. I feel that we're going to need to get someone who can play pretty much right back, centre back. Konsa's the man, it seems at the moment, is the most vocal name that keeps coming up, but obviously there's a big valuation between what Arsenal want to pay and what Aston Villa want. Do you see that deal going over the line?
I don't think we do get Konsa. I don't know who else we get. I know we were linked with a youngster from Club Brugge as a right back, if I'm not mistaken. And I think there was news yesterday we were linked to with a guy from Atletico Madrid. It's a weird one. I think if we knew Ben White was definitely going, I think we can look to find someone that can challenge Timber as right back. I think obviously with the whole Timber situation, not knowing how he's going to, how his injury is going to be, because again, you know, he did come on in the Champions League, and I just assumed that he was going to play in the World Cup this summer, and he obviously didn't even go in the squad. He got told he was too injured. I don't think we can rely on Timber again the full season, unfortunately. I think we shouldn't rush him back. For me, I don't think Cons is the answer. I don't know who. I mean, if Livramento wasn't as injury prone, I thought he would from the level we need to be is where he's at. But I think the biggest thing for whoever we sign as a defensive player, centre back or right back, the biggest attributes is going to be about their availability. Again,
this is the issue, isn't it? This is the issue. I don't like. Let's be honest, yeah, right. It's going to be hard to attract many players into the club because they know when William Saliba gets back, he's number one. So they're going to have to come in on a guarantee that actually, like, you're pretty much at William Saliba's understudy. But that's probably where the flexibility is that actually we could potentially utilise the right back option, which is pretty much like Ben White a little bit, wasn't it? In terms of it, I'm pretty much like you. Like I wouldn't mind Konza as long as the fee wasn't what it's at the moment. Like I don't think he's worth that much whatsoever. I do have a concern though. I ain't totally sure whether him and Gabriel would partner up well with each other either, and that's my other concern. But I don't really see what other options there are at the moment. I think, yeah, Livramento would have been the ideal situation. Us dealing with Newcastle again so soon would have been an absolute.
I don't think he'd be good because of availability. We don't want to have two injured right backs as good as Livramento is. It's hard. I think it'll be probably an obscure right back if we sign someone on maybe a more younger right back. I don't know, but again, for me, that position, I wouldn't be surprised if we get someone from Spain last minute on a release clause sort of thing. Someone we see out of nowhere with that one. If we don't if Konza is what Arteta wants, and they'll try getting, I think Villa want 60 million for Konza.
Yeah, can't see a we're paying 60 million for someone who's going to be an understudy unless they know a lot more in terms of the Saliba situation. He's going to be out a lot longer, because there could be this point at the moment where we're just keeping it quiet just to not prod the bee's nest at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's the worry, isn't it?
Jules Koundé is the one I want.
Who?
Jules Koundé from Barca. I don't think he's got that much longer left. He can play centre half. He can play right back. Quite effective. I would have said Raul and Sensio from Madrid, but after Vinicius, I don't know if Arsenal will be that particularly all right with Madrid wanting to do anything with them. But I think there is players out there. Like I have 30. I'd probably pay 35, 40 at the most for Konza, but
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Especially with Salmon coming up, mate. Like
I was going to say that actually. Like on my little notes from the highlights of the game that I watched yesterday, and then I was speaking to Dad that watched the full game, and he said that straight away that Salmon's looked really good, and obviously he's had little runs in the other games as well, hasn't he? Where he's come on for sort of 10, 15 at the end, but
that's a
just to show that level of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, he hasn't got played that often.
I think it's good for him to get some game time. Like I don't think we can be relying on him absolutely whatsoever at the moment at his age, especially at centre back. But I think we've got a goal. We've got a golden nugget there, haven't we?
So did you not see him Capie though? Because that's where he played quite a lot before he went and played left back at Leverkusen.
Nah, well, if he did, why has he not tried it in pre-seasons? My suggestion, like, if he did see him playing there, why has he not done it already? So I don't see it, because I think he actually wants to bring someone in. I think he will bring someone in. My personal opinion is, I think Konza will come in. I actually think Konza will come in. I think it will happen. I think it'll go down to the final week. But you got to remember, right? We've been given a bit of a. I don't want to dismiss Coventry City, but at the end of the day, right, we've been given a really nice first game, if we're being totally honest. And because the week getting pushed back this week, season by one week because of the World Cup, because we usually start pretty much this weekend for the Premier League, it's actually done us all right in terms of transfers, because actually, like, I think we can get away with what we got against Coventry. Like, do you know what I mean? It's when the following week when you got Aston Villa on the Monday night, but it's literally on the 31st. So, like, I think there's definitely time for that.
That's probably why we're signing Konza, mate, because we've got Villa away.
Well, they probably won't release him, will they, until like literally that weekend to make sure he doesn't play in that game, because you can imagine they won't want him playing in that game at Aston Villa. Do you know what I mean? On a Monday night.
My biggest takeaway from pre-season as well is that we all need to go to the Emirates with pitchforks and get Kappa out.
Well, that was my last.
Blame the solar eclipse.
I mean, I was assuming. I felt yesterday, especially during one of the halves, or I say halves. If anyone was watching it, unfortunately, we've carried on the bad habit of the World Cup and started doing it with hydration breaks, and it felt like which I think at the game yesterday, I was at the game. It was heavily booed. The 2 hydration breaks. I don't know if that came through for anyone not watching it at the game and watching it on. I think it was broadcast on YouTube yesterday, wasn't it? I think Kepa, Vieira, Jesus, Nelson, all of those players for me felt like it was a shopping. I was putting them on sort of on show yesterday, and Kepa just does what Kepa does best and messes it up anyway. For me, I think there's a clause in his contract that he could have gone for 5 million early in the summer. So I think if anyone was really keen, they probably would have snapped that up. Because it's, again, 5 million for him. It is still a bargain from the Italian side, a Turkish side. I think we're going to have problems moving him on, unfortunately.
His contract runs out next summer, doesn't it? So
if he's got somebody else coming in, just send him packing.
Well, they want to send Sefford out on loan, don't they? That's what it seems like. I think Melier is better than Kepa, and I don't think Melier is
I said that.
I don't think Melier is great, but I think he's better than Kepa.
Why has he not been given a game where he starts? I find that quite strange that Kepa's been given all the games to start. Like, I know Ra's come back, but I do find it really, really strange that he didn't start the Leeds goalkeeper whatsoever.
He's been starting like people like Fabio Vieira, though, isn't he? And
I think it's like a shopping window, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. Like,
he ain't done that well, is he?
No, he had time. I think it's probably a tactic from a selling perspective. If you don't even include these players in the match day squad, don't start them, you're in a less of a position potentially of saying that you've got to pretend they're part of the squad.
I'm surprised he didn't play him though, like one half, like to start with. You know what I mean? Give him a bit of confidence to start a game. Like,
is it double bluff? Is it double bluff?
Let's
keep him there. Is it double bluff where we don't play him and then?
I get thinking Kepa's staying, mate. That's my first.
That's what I reckon as well.
I think he's staying, mate. I don't think it's any.
All I want is Raya not to get injured, and then I'm fine.
If the Carabao Cup wasn't enough, then we've seen two massive howlers in pre-season already. Yeah. I don't get as to why he still even starts or is in any conversation. To be honest,
I don't see a world where if you was thinking that this guy here, who's number 3, he's obviously number 3 goalkeeper. He's been treated like a number 3 goalkeeper in this whole pre-season. Like, the number 1's not there yet, right? And he hasn't started the game. I'm sorry, I find that quite weird. Like, in itself, like, out of all the games, I thought like he could potentially have started one of the games. Like, for Kepa to play all 4 games, I don't believe it's because Arteta's put him in the shock market, because he could do that with 3 games. I just think that Kepa's staying as number 2. I think it's
second half of the Emirates Cup. Half of the Emirates Cup, though, Melier came on and didn't make a mistake, did he?
No,
he's come on a couple of games, hasn't he?
But like in that Emirates Cup game in particular, I hadn't really noticed him in the other ones when he came on, but I didn't notice him make any mistakes.
I thought against Como he could have got an half, and then the other one got another half. I don't think Kepa's being shot. I don't believe that he's being like put out there for teams to want him. I don't think he stands number 2, and I think that's it.
It doesn't fill me with any level of confidence, does he? Any of you?
Well, if we lose Raya for any kind of injury, we're screwed.
Yeah,
no, he's never. For me, he's not
like him at Chelsea either. So
he's not a nice type of goalie. No. And like, for me, do you know what the biggest shame is? And it sort of changed the subject. Looking where he is now, I loved Ramsdale, and Ramsdale's unfortunately labelled as like a number 2 now, isn't he? He was a number 2 essentially at Newcastle last season. I'd have loved to have Ramsdale back as a number 2,
mate, all day long. People might laugh at that, but
it won't happen.
It won't happen. But I tell you what, right? He will distribute better. I know he had his howlers and all that, but look, I think there was a lot of things that I don't think he was managed great, was it? When he first come in, right? And I think that was the problem. But I'm like you. I look at Ramsdale and I look at Kepa, and I think actually Ramsdale would offer us so much more as a number 2, because actually he knows the style of football that Arteta wants to play, and he'll try and play it. I don't like Kepa can't even save a shot now. Like, this is a goalkeeper, by the way, that cost 70 million. At one point, this is a goalkeeper that went to Chelsea for 70 million. I thought when we got him from Bournemouth, I thought, you know what, that's a well good signing.
I mean, to be honest, we've signed some bad goalies or secondary goalies over the years. I mean, Matt Turner was also quite bad. I don't know. He remember how howlers he made, and we signed Matt. Who did we sign?
Ryan.
Mike Turner, wasn't it, from Fulham or someone as well?
Matt Ryan.
That was.
He did set up a goal. He did set up a goal, Matt Ryan.
He did, didn't he? He did.
Yeah,
Did it Fulham?
Yeah, I think so.
Last minute, weren't it? Last minute equaliser.
Ramsdale every game showed you that he gave a massive shit every game as well, and actually took ownership to the mistakes, but ultimately showed he wanted to play for the football club.
I think we did well to get the money back on Ramsdale.
You could probably get him as a number 2 now, because I don't think he really cares about it now. But you wouldn't get Ramsdale back like last season, because he was still playing as a number 1. Like at the minute, he's still stuck at Southampton, isn't he, in the Championship? Right.
That's an easy come back to the side that's just won the league, then, isn't it? Really, regardless of how because he can understand it. Surely he can understand now as a goalkeeper that the reason that he was moved on is
I'd take him all day long as a number 2. I would take him all day long as a number 2.
Yeah, he's still not old, is he?
He loves the club as well, mate. He loves the club and everything.
And the banter he used to give as well. I mean, the banter he used to give
opposition
teams. I remember the Spurs game. Obviously, you had, unfortunately for him, that player come on the pitch and kick Ramsdale. But he was very good, and you got to have sometimes characters like that as well. I mean, Benny White is a bit like that. Obviously, gives a bit of banter, and I think that it feels a bit more. As players come across nowadays more as robots, don't they? You don't really see that personality shine through as much. And for me, he's a player connected with the fans.
That's why I like Skelly, because I think he shows that. I think Lewis Skelly shows that. I don't know if people see it, but yesterday apparently, when he scored, he went over and apologised to the fans with a heart. Yeah. So we all know what that was about. He ain't stupid. He's seen all the crap online about intermediate stuff with Chelsea and United. So that's why I wasn't really worried. But do you know what I mean? He has that. Look what Skelly was doing with Haaland and stuff. So yeah, I think he's a legend. To be fair,
those players that are not afraid of what others say. I was watching something about him in that he just walked into the Bernabeu with his headphones on, just chatting to his friends on his phone. And that level of confidence at the age that you're at is just unbelievable. Because the hardest thing as a football player must be not focusing on that outside knowledge all the time, not having your time at home sat there scrolling through social media and seeing everybody say that you're good or bad. And
look at him and Saka at the end of the season with the title celebrations. They're about the bottles and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Tesh is saying, George, is Kepa's that bad? He'd have more confidence for you in goal than Kepa.
Yeah, well, he probably moved like me in cricket sometimes. But no, I'm not a fan of Kepa, but I'll give it a go. I don't mind being the Arsenal number 2, mate. I'll give it a go.
I think we'd all back you more, to be honest.
All you'd have to do is I'll have to be in goal where you're all sitting, and then you have to shout left, right, left.
There's more links tonight around, obviously, Victor Osimhen. Dean James has just put something in the group. Arsenal is charging towards Victor Osimhen. It's a top priority request from Mikel Arteta. The Gunners are convinced they can seal the deal before the market closes. Galatasaray hasn't set an exact price for its goalscorer, but hopes to recover at least its initial investment, which is around €70.
But hasn't he been a bit of a player that doesn't really know where he wants to go and is easily brought away from a club by a lot of money? And it's over the last couple of years where he's been. I can't remember how many years we've been linked to it. It must have been 5. It must be 5 or 6 in a row.
That transfer don't make sense to me.
No,
it's a weird one.
Well, because he's a straight centre forward, isn't he? So what does that mean about Gyökeres or Havertz or Marino?
I think he wants someone. Sorry, was you going to say something, Kieran?
Yeah, high wages, low ceiling for someone like Osimhen for me.
He ain't better than what we've got.
No,
I think it's
100% not.
interesting that if you listen to Arteta, that even in the pre-season, he's saying about how the attacking play, we don't score enough goals. We don't score enough goals. And I think there's a lot of direct towards strikers, central strikers with that as well. Havertz does a good job, doesn't he? Like Havertz up front does a good job, and then you will get goals out of him, but you won't get a substantial amount of goals out of him. You're probably going to get 1 in every 2 or 1 in every 3 with it. I'll just say 1 in every 2.5 with him. Yeah. Gyökeres has got to be literally put on a plate, I think, as such. There's no disrespect for him, but that's what he is. Do you know what I mean?
No, he's
scored 20 odd goals. Yeah, he's a poacher. As such, I'm wondering if he just feels like he needs a little bit more up there in terms of what's the word, competition as such. Will that get the best out of the other 2 players? I don't know.
I've always wondered why they can't play two up front, like Gyökeres with one other. Like we saw it in the World Cup where they'd done it with Isak, didn't they? Like, I don't know. Obviously, it's hard because he's not shown any of that in pre-season. But if they do go for Osimhen, does that mean you've got Gyökeres and Osimhen as your front 2?
Would he replace Jesus? As like Catherine said, probably great shout.
Well, yeah, it's a good replacement for Jesus. So I agree with that.
I mean, it depends if he's going to be like. It depends if you can meet in that middle and say, look, we've just brought up Saka to 200,000. We've just brought up Declan Rice a little bit more. I think Saliba went up to something like 160, didn't he? So if you can meet in that some kind of middle and say, look, we can't give you that massive contract and the massive wages, but meet us in the middle somewhere.
The only positive thing about this as well is that Tottenham were convinced they were getting Osimhen this season. So if that does happen, just because I'm bitter and just another one.
I think Osimhen would be an interesting one. For me, I like the idea of 2 strikers up front. I wouldn't play Havertz and Gyökeres together because I think that's similar to what we've had. Again, I know Havertz wasn't playing as a striker in the Carabao Cup. He was playing more as an attacking midfielder. But I don't think those 2 suit each other. It'd be interesting to see an Osimhen and a Gyökeres play together. I don't think it works of how we are used to watching Arsenal play. But you need someone else. Like for me, do you know who would be great for us if he was 10 years younger? It would be Giroud right now. Someone brings players in a lot more. Again, he was never going to be the out-and-out goal scorer. But
never got rid of him when we did.
We got rid, yeah. And like he used to bring so many players in. You know, imagine if he was here now with all the players around, we would be, I think, a lot stronger. But there isn't really that many players out there. And I think striker now, who else? If it wasn't Osimhen, we're saying Alvarez we don't want because we're not going to be his first choice. There isn't loads really out there. It's a real pickings. You don't actually see any real youngster strikers either sort of hitting their names. Like 20 years ago, all the sort of wonder kids were mainly strikers, weren't they? Or midfielders. You don't really see that anymore.
I think
starting position.
I think if you're talking about the one and out goal scorer, yeah, right. Then I'm telling you that I want Osimhen over Alvarez all day long because Osimhen is going to score you a lot more goals. I do think, right, that Arteta thinks that he's not getting enough out of his strikers. I think that. Yeah. I think that's what I think Arteta feels that as such. Sorry.
So is that on the strikers though, or don't?
No, I don't know. I don't think it is, mate. No, I don't think it is personally. What I was going to say to you is, I do think it's a little bit like if you watch the other day, mate. I'll tell you what, Havertz really frustrated me against Dortmund. That ball that he should have put square to Gyökeres on a plate was bread and butter. Like not even to get that to him was inexcusable. Jesus, I know it's Jesus, but Jesus missed yesterday. It's supposed it's easier to score, and he's probably sitting there, right, seeing all these opportunities go waste, right. And he's thinking, like, I don't need this. Do you know what? I need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, and I actually think that's what he's thinking at the moment. So, is it all because of the strikers? No, it's not. Because, I feel that he's done something with that to get Bruno in, and I feel if he gets the left winger in, he'll do a lot more with that. But I do think that he feels that he hasn't got a striker that I think that he wants in terms of like that can assure him that he will score a lot of goals. And I think Osimhen would offer you
Well, he
That-
scores
that
goals,
security
mate. You
net that
know what I mean?
he will put the ball in the back of the net. He will put the ball in the back of the net.
Whether he has that really crappy attitude or whatever. Like personally, I thought Aubameyang had that, but at the end of the day, he scored goals.
But you
Like,
loved him the first 2 years, though, didn't you?
yeah, but I didn't. I loved him. No, I didn't like when he was
Under
late
Emery
on the
was
North London
unbelievable,
derby.
mate. Aubameyang under Emery was unbelievable.
But then when he
Unbelievable,
done what he
under
done
Emery.
for the North London derby when he was captain, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
no, I don't agree
does
with all that. I don't agree with all that. But
But ultimately, you just need someone to score, don't you?
Aubameyang needed. I tell you what, Aubameyang needed Arteta like probably a few years later. Do you know what I mean? Like I think if Arteta had been in that club from the moment he got in, he wouldn't have been pulling all that shit out the bag. I think too much was too much was allowed to happen. Probably in the back end of the Wenger years and under the Emery that didn't get managed, and then Arteta come in and they. Let's be honest, they're all prima donnas, weren't they? Look at them, Guendouzi. Like had an attitude. Aubameyang had an attitude. There were so many players with that at the time. It was so hard.
Even like we say about the attitude, Liam, like we were going after someone like Vinicius Junior, who's probably not really known for having the best attitude, is he?
But sometimes you need that player, don't you?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We need that to go that step further.
And sometimes, as a manager, you need to manage that kind of player. And I think Arteta is at the right time now, where actually I think that he can potentially manage that player. He managed Aubameyang correctly. He managed Ozil correctly. Do you know what I mean? They had to leave the club at the time. But I think he's got a whole structure, a whole team now that actually you're not. I don't even think Aubameyang. I don't even think Arteta needs to tell these players what to do. I think they'll get dug out by the players themselves. Like I think Gabriel Saliba's, Declan Rice's won't allow you to get away with shit like that. Do you know what I mean? These are professionals that want to win stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
It's all good. And as a manager, like you say, it's that can you, if you've got a massive ego, you back it up and then the manager backs off. But if you let too many of these players then create egos for themselves as well, you then get this point where everyone thinks they can get away with it. So it's an
I think he's got the club and the team where he needs it to be able to take a risk on a player, and I think he was going to take a risk on Vinicius Junior. And I think I'm not saying that he wants Osimhen. I don't know. We're only reading what's there, but I think if he does want him, he's willing to take a risk because I think he knows the reward that he could get out of it.
And it might bring Gyökeres a bit like sort him out. You know, like when you bring better players in that position, they know they've got to get to that level. Like
competition, innit?
Yeah, like
competition.
For example, like Gyökeres, and if you're comparing Gyökeres and Osimhen, the goal scoring record, it's not a comparison.
Would you do this deal? And I think this is maybe low risk. Would you do a loan swap, Martinelli for Osimhen?
No. It's not replacing Martinelli, is it?
Really? It's not. I think Martinelli, but I think we've got one, maybe two players we're going to sign full out and out, not loan deals.
Yeah,
I like to think.
But does that create a problem? Does that, instead of solving a problem, does that create one? So you're down to maybe one left winger now, but you've solved one problem, but made another, if that makes sense as well.
And you have to replace Martinelli with a left winger before.
I just think that I reckon Arsenal being creative here. I think they've seen 38 million or whatever it is that's been slammed on the table, and they're thinking, actually, I think we could do a deal here where we could probably pay us a little bit more for Osimhen and include Martinelli. I think this is probably what they're looking at.
But then they have to have a replacement for Martinelli.
Yeah,
because that's on Zolis. That's like having Zolis, and then that means that your options you've got are Zolis and either Eze or Madueke, and for me that don't win you a title.
No.
It might even struggle for top four.
I think we'll buy a left winger. I think we will go. And
that's what I mean. I don't think
if there's one lined up, then and it's all kind of fitting together like clockwork.
Yeah,
that Osimhen on deadline day is gonna make us all go a little bit mad, isn't it? So
yeah,
It's one to keep your eye on, isn't it? Definitely, it's one
Yeah,
to keep your eye on.
definitely.
It's an interesting one that's kind of broke. Let's just go quickly on to Charity Shield on Sunday. Arsenal got Man City. No Pep Guardiola anymore, which obviously will probably
That's a
bring a big smile to all of us.
It's going to be so bizarre, though, isn't it? As well, like, it's going to be so odd.
Obviously, Maresca's gone there. Interesting, I think. I do think personally that I think the job's too big for him. That's my personal opinion. I just don't see it. I think he's going to end up being like what Emre was and what David Moyes was, in terms of the big moments when Ferguson and Wenger went, and they were just like stepping stones to the next manager. Personally, but he's there.
Because as much as we hate to say it, like Pep Guardiola and what he did for Man City, that's going to go and be remembered for the rest of football in history. Take our like biases out and stuff like that. Yeah. That's going to go down as one of the best. So it is like replacing a Wenger or a Ferguson, or it really is. And nobody's up to that because you couldn't replicate what they did in their periods of time for their football club. So,
and I think we had the players leave as well, though, quite quickly. You know, as much as I think we mentioned earlier, Bernardo Silva might be coming to the end of his career. It's still a big player for him last season. I mean, should have been sent off a lot more, but that's another debate for another day. But Rodri as well, potentially leaving. They're big players to leave, and for they'd have been part of their spine of their team, and I think that's going to put someone like an Elliot Anderson under a lot of pressure straight away.
Yeah.
Rather than being the big fish in the small pond, he's going to be at a big club, and for 115 million, he's going to be expected to play like a Rodri from game one.
Yeah. They even lost John Stones as well, didn't they? Like he's left now as well.
Well, again, another senior player.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should have signed him on a free.
I did. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been the worst thing.
I don't think that would have been the worst thing at the right moment of time. I really don't. I don't think it would have
been. I guess my question, is it just my bias? Was there anything in that World Cup when Elliot Anderson played all them minutes that you went, wow, as a footballer? Because I didn't see it. But obviously, I'm willing to Elliot Anderson. So I'm willing to kind of.
He's not a £115 million player, but
I don't get what he does.
City have done it to stop the whole market, haven't they? Like they knew City know exactly what they're doing when they do that deal, because they know that they're the only team that can really get away. Well, I say they're the only team. Chelsea can get away with it. They get away with it, and then now it pushes all the other values up. So, like, I believe that we wanted Morgan Rogers. Of course, we did, but 170 million. I don't want Morgan Rogers. Like, there's no.
It's like that Brawadi, isn't it?
I like him. I do like him.
But I like him. But what I mean, all around the deal, like, the team where he was at said, if you pay 60 or 70 million, we want to keep him on loan for a season. But if you give us 100 million plus, you can have him now. Like with City, that's not corrupt at all, is it? Like, and
I think they're going to come a bit unstuck this year in terms of but like Rodri, for me, is the be all end all for that team, and like they've lost. Bernardino Silva, another player like I don't like, but he knew he made them tick. He did make them tick at the end of the day. John Stones is a big lead that's gone out.
One, I know he left like earlier than last season, but still having them sort of De Bruyne, them sort of players, having to replace those sort of leaders as well. It's not easy.
No, and again, I think their form was really poor. I think, unfortunately for us at the time, we let them get back into the title race. It should never, even though it was 7 points in the end, at one point, obviously, we were joint points or 3 points ahead, etc. We let them get back in. I think that's for Pep factor. I think if they had another manager, they probably wouldn't have got as many points as they did.
No.
I think he's going to make a big difference. But for sort of Sunday's game, I think it'll actually be quite a tight game. I don't think Maresca's going to come out and look at some tactical genius to play against us. I think he's going to try, at least for the first half, to sort of contain us.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting how many minutes everyone plays. with Arsenal over the last two friendlies, you haven't really seen many players play more than 50, 60 minutes. And I was saying to Liam beforehand, I'd rather win against Coventry the following week than I would do
100%.
Community Shield. And it's a
Yeah.
game for me. I just see it as a game of getting more minutes. And I'm not that bothered about results. Obviously, most teams that win the Community Shield anyway don't go on to win the league. I think the last time it happened was in 2018-19 season anyway.
Yeah,
I hope we get battered then.
it's a long time.
It's just like an exercise, but ultimately in the back of your head, not even just Arteta, both managers will be thinking, right, if I play one of my bigger players for a long amount of time and then they get injured, there's going to be hell to pay. So it's kind of an extension on pre-season. I know when we used to be in it. I know when you used to be in it and we used to win it, people would go, "Oh, well, it's not really a trophy, is it?" But it's one of those things. Obviously, have you seen the? I don't know how true it is, but have you seen the guide of the stadium that brings the Arsenal fans out and the Chelsea fans out and how many tickets they've sold?
Yeah, we've got 3/4 of the stadium.
Yeah, I keep looking at it. I failed to see that happen, but then I have had so many emails from the club being like, it's gone down to silver, it's gone down to. So I have seen loads and loads and loads, but I just failed to see how 3/4 of the stadium's us, if that makes sense.
But I think so. I work on. I help support one of the supporters group called ASA, our Independent Sports Association. We've had chats in there. It went down to red members.
Yeah, I did think it did.
And the stadium where it was at one point, there was 2 lots, I think, of 6,000 tickets given back from Man City to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it was a significant amount. And
but
again,
that doesn't make any sense to me, because you would have thought you want to see your new manager's first game. Regardless of what happens, you want to see where it starts. So to me, that just makes it a little bit bizarre. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, but I think that's just, City don't have the same fan base as many of the other top 6 clubs. I do a lot of work in Manchester. I was up there, I think, for Champions League night, and I was speaking to a local fan, and they said they can barely fill their stadium for a big Champions League game. On a Wednesday night.
I went once to Man City behind enemy lines with one of my friends, and I had this conversation with him, and I said, does it, like, in all seriousness, does it feel that flat because anything other than winning absolutely everything is not enough? Or am I just sat here as an Arsenal fan thinking, I want to hate it anyway? I never got a real answer, but I kind of sat there and I was like, well, it must be. There's no reason other than that this feels flat as a Premier League game. Yes, our games can feel flat, but it's never completely flat.
No. For me, I just don't think they've got the fan base. I think Arsenal, again, especially for this game, you're going to red members. There's over 110, 120,000 people currently on the Arsenal waiting list for a season ticket. There isn't anyone really probably on the waiting list specifically. I think from a fan perspective, we're one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in England when it comes to fans. And
revenue as well, like that the fans create.
As well. They've done fantastic. I think if we'd have made the Emirates 10 years later, I think we'd have even more bigger revenue, because obviously what Tottenham have done with their stadium, they obviously get a hefty revenue from concerts and stuff, and all of the other. Again, they're treating it as a business rather than us. But for me, I think the fans. There's more fans of Arsenal, essentially more than City, and I think with City giving that many back, I just don't think they're as invested. Again, I don't know what the average. I don't know if any of you guys remember when it was Main Road at City. I don't think they had a particular big ground anyway. And I don't think I remember watching. If you go back and watch football in the 90s when City were, when we were in the Premier League before they got relegated, you look back and you look around that stadium on the highlights, and it doesn't look full there either. It's not been through natural progression of gaining fans. Even Chelsea are probably in a similar situation to Man City, where build a 60,000 stadium. Do you think they'd fill it?
I guess as well that you can kind of bypass the fans if you start winning everything, can't you? Because you can get the fans that just come on board because you're winning loads of things. So has that kind of been that smoke screen and that kind of right? Because we obviously Arsenal have so many tourists that come. I think at one stage we were making more revenue from the shop before a game than we were selling all the ground out. So it's an odd one, isn't it? But obviously I think I'll be on the train home, unfortunately. And with it obviously not being on live TV, I think it's only on BT and nowhere else. It's going to be a bit tricky on the train. The Wi-Fi is not fantastic, or your phone signal. So hopefully I'll be able to get to see it. But yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? It's a little bit like pre-season. If we'd have won all pre-season, it wouldn't really matter. If we'd have lost like we have done most of it, it doesn't really matter either. It's picking on those individual performances for me when I've looked at a game and gone, right, these 5 players have played really well. Don't really care what the score is.
It's a weird game on Sunday, because I can imagine both Arsenal and Man City are going to be nowhere near where they need to be in terms of fitness terms because of the World Cup. I don't really know what to expect on Sunday, if I'm being frankly honest here. I don't think probably the managers know what to expect, because you just got players coming in at different kind of times of the pre-season, haven't you? You've got Saka, Rice, and all that we don't want to be playing in this game, in my opinion. I don't mind seeing Saka, but he weren't even on the bench, so I don't expect to see him on Sunday. He might be on the bench, play 10-15 minutes, but I just think that actually this is a game that I think you're going to see pretty much not what you'd see in a curtain raiser usually. So take, for example, back in 2023 when we played them, they're pretty much best. Two teams are the top best. They're best 11s. Do you know what I mean? But you're pretty much going to see, I think, a mixture of players from each squad on Sunday start the game. And I think pretty much what we've seen in terms of starting games for us, I don't think it's going to be much different, because actually Arteta knows that the guys that are fit and starting can probably play in 75 minutes to 90 minutes now. Do you know what I mean? So I think the ones that have been with him from the start of this pre-season probably get the nod on Sunday. I think David Rao will come back in. And by the way, how good did he look in that second half yesterday?
Yeah.
Just saved a penalty.
What?
Different.
He
saved
saved
2,
penalties.
didn't he?
He saved 2, didn't he? I think.
He saved 2, yeah. Because Morata took one that he saved, and that was 3 or 4. And then he scored. Yeah, he definitely saved 2, which is great. I think it's a change of hairstyle maybe that he's had.
And this is the thing, though, isn't it? Like, we're to be honest, Como should have won it at the end. They had 2 really great opportunities, and David Ray saved us. But we just look. It's like when we talk about players like Declan Rice's and all that, and we talk about Saliba's. Let's talk about David Ray. Do you know what I mean? Like he totally transformed absolutely everything. Like we see in that Carabao Cup final, how much we missed him, and that was with our pretty much. I'm not saying our full 11, but a majority of our 11 were in the team on that day. So I think it's going to be a bit of a strange game on Sunday. I think it is going to be a bit of a mixture from both teams. But at the end of the day, it's still a good opportunity to clamp down a marker, isn't it, at the start of the season, to say, like, well, we've actually got players that want to kick off on a good note. I think, obviously, our Greek lad from the left wings, obviously one of them will want to make a statement on Sunday, and I think he'll definitely start. I think Gyökeres definitely will want to get a goal. Whether he starts Gyökeres will be an interesting one. It'd be interesting if he goes Havertz or Gyökeres, because in fact the evidence shows that when we play against the big teams, Havertz starts up top. So I think that would be an interesting one. Or will he try and play both for them? I hope not, because I think that actually
his lesson from a
yeah, I'm hoping he'll play. I think he'll go Skelly, Bruno, and Odegaard in centre midfield, and I think he'll play Dalman on the right. I think, and obviously, then you're looking. Fun.
I actually think he'll play Noni on the right.
Do you?
I think. Yeah. I don't agree with it, but I think again, Max has actually played quite a lot of football in the last couple of weeks, and I think Max will probably better come on as an impact sub. That's what I
shout. Yeah. I
did say the manage the minutes of his age. Like, yes, we know his ceiling's absolutely massive, but we can't expect him. Yes, he's got all the energy in the world, but we can't be expecting him to play as much as some of the others. He's going to be one of those. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No. I was just agreeing with you, Sam. I saw him yesterday when we were playing Como. He looked a bit tired. He didn't have the same energy as he did against Dortmund. And again, you think about it, when he had that injury, obviously towards the end of in the middle of last season, and then he actually didn't play too much first team football afterwards. Again, he scored a goal against Everton. He wasn't playing for the under-21s or the under-18s at all, because obviously we wanted to potentially use him for the first team. So to play, I think he's actually started most of it, or at least played a part in all of the friendlies we've had. I don't see him starting, because I think he's probably not been used to playing in short spaces of time, because his body's probably not used to it.
I think Como as well really put in the performance, because obviously that propels them. Yes, they've done well. Yes, Cesc Fabregas is there, but playing Arsenal, that's the biggest stage you've got, and I think they'll walk away with their heads held high and think we've made a really good go of this.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I didn't know many of their team as such, so it's all these unknowns really for people, and I bet the scouts were there like mad.
And Trevor Chalobah.
Yeah,
that was a strange one. I didn't realise it had gone there, to be fair.
The Morata one was strange as well.
Nico Pass they've got is very good.
Yeah. It seems like it looks like they're trying to build quite a young team, but then have 2 or 3 or players that have played in the big leagues, which makes sense, I suppose. But
yeah. I'm going to come to the end of the show now, because I'm a bit mindful it's 20 to 11. Didn't expect to go on that long whatsoever, but it's been an incredible first show and chat. Let's just go for some score predictions Sunday. I don't mind going first. I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal Sunday. I'm going to go 3-1. I fancy us to win, definitely. I'm always going to back us anyway, but yeah, I'm going to go 3-1. I'll go to you, George.
Why not 4-2 Arsenal? Let's go.
Cool. Kieran?
I'm going to go 1-1, normal time, no extra time. Remember, there's no extra time in Community Shield.
Yeah.
And we win it in penalties.
Be an interesting shootout, Ray and Donnarumma.
If he plays him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've got no James Trafford now, if he's got the lead. So.
He's got to play him, innit, really?
Yeah.
And you, Sam?
Going to be bold and say 2-0. Why not?
Cool. Good stuff. Obviously, thank you very much, chats, for obviously coming on this evening. Been great to start talk football with you all.
Cheers, mate.
Cool, thank you, everyone. Come on the Arsenal weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive game at the weekend. It's always good to kind of lay down that marker. So let's go and do it. And look, we're going to Cardiff, and we're definitely out now outnumbering them on Sunday. So I can't wait. To see Cardiff Red, which it will rightly be as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. Just obviously, thank you very much for everyone who's been in the chats tonight. Really good to see so many great names. Obviously, thank you very much, and thanks for getting involved in all the debate. But yeah, we move on to Sunday. Obviously, first trophy up for grabs in the new season. Come on, you Arsenal! Let's go and get the Charity Shield over and done with. Good night.